Oh, thank you, sir. There we go. Oh, trust me. Yeah. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have another question. The question is, when was Exhibit 201 written? I believe that was one of the letters. I'm gathering it doesn't have a date on the letter itself, although I don't know that for a fact. I'm assuming it doesn't, otherwise they'd see it. And I'd have to look at my notes. My recollection is there was questioning about it, and there was either questioning or testimony about when it was actually written. I could be wrong, because I know there were two letters, but the other one I thought had a date on it.
It did.
It had a December 2012 date?
Yes.
And I know there was questioning about the date that this one was written. I'm guessing we would need to look, if this is the direction we're going to go, we would look at Mr. Dunn's testimony to find out if the question was asked, if there was an answer given. And you could give him the date based on the testimony.
Was it the typed one or the written?
It's the typed.
Okay, because there was one that was written and then one that was typed out from the family.
Yeah, I believe it, I believe it did
You
come
might
out.
need to turn that microphone on. 201, I think, on the exhibit list is referenced as the Black Friday letter, even though it wasn't written on that day.
And I believe it was testified as to when it was drafted.
I think it was too. Anyway, the question is, when was it written? You tell me what you want to do.
If we can look at the testimony, Your Honor, and find it.
Okay.
I think the concern is not getting too much into it, but the written one was typed out. Obviously, he didn't have access to a typewriter, so he couldn't have typed it out from the jail. So that's kind of the issue as well. So if there was testimony on it and when it was drafted.
Okay, well, we'll do that. Before we go off the record to allow Ms. Simpkins to look that up, I had indicated through the bailiffs to the jurors this morning that or sometime today, that we would need to know by 4:30 what their preference was for dinner, whether we were going to feed them here or whether they were going to want to go back to the hotel and have dinner there, because there's time constraints with the kitchen there and whatnot, apparently. Anyway, they indicated that they would, well, let me back up. They need to leave here by 6:15 in order to be able to get back there to get their food. And so they indicated they would leave at 6:15. assuming that they hadn't finished their deliberation. So just tell you that so you know. I'll tell you this as well. My intention is, after having thought about it, to continue to keep the 4 alternates. When we're finished with this, I'm going to bring them in. I'm going to let them go back to the hotel now because they have to be transported separately anyway. If something were to happen to one of the 12, we will transport the alternate back. So we'll do that here in just a minute. The other jurors will continue to deliberate until probably 6 o'clock, unless they finish their deliberations. And then I would, I'll defer to you. I can either bring them in and say thank you for your attention and have a nice evening, or we can just let them go without reconvening. You think about that. My intention also, because I am eternally grateful, particularly, I am to all of these jurors, as I know you all are, but these alternates have been basically sitting in another jury room here in the courthouse, not able to talk about the case, not able to do anything all day. So my intention with them is to leave them at the hotel tomorrow. That way they can stay in their room. They're not watching TV and those kinds of things. We'll still have the sheriff's office people there watching over them to make sure nobody's trying to communicate with them or anything such as that. They could also be in the day room. They could, play a game or cards if they wanted to. They just won't be talking about the case. I just think it'd be more comfortable for them there. And then if we need them, they're a phone call away and they will be transported here to take the place of another juror if something were to have happened. So that's my intention, unless somebody has a particular objection to that from the state.
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Stroll.
No, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Dunn, any objection to that?
No, sir.
Okay. So we'll sit here. We'll just be quiet while Ms. Simpkins goes back to Mr. Dunn's testimony. I'm thinking it was under cross by Mr. Guy. And I don't know how you can look that up, but it's one of those letters. Okay.
I think it may have come out as June, so if she did a word search for June, I think that might put her on it.
Okay. All right. Hang on. She's got it. Yes.
The answer was, or this is what you wrote, right answer. It's as accurate as I can get. This was written in June, and it pretty much covers a nightmare that I have.
That was Mr. Dunn's testimony himself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I can do this a variety of ways, and the simplest way is to probably just say June of 2012.
13.
I'm sorry, 13. Today's day 10, right?
Yes, sir.
2013.
We agree, Your Honor.
Mr. Stroller, you want to talk to Mr. Dunn about that?
Yes, sir. Yes, Judge, they were just asking for the time frame. Was it a specific date or just June?
Just June.
And the clerk's giving me a note. Yes, my microphone is on.
Then I guess we would just say, based on the transcript, it was June of 2013.
So do you want me to say, based on a review of the
Testimony.
testimony,
Yes,
June 2013?
yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay? So we'll bring them out, and I'll tell them that, and then we'll let them go back, and then I'm going to bring the other alternate. Well, it'll take a few minutes to get the alternates here, but that's what we'll do next. I'm sorry? I'm going to say review the testimony. Maybe I'll say record.
Jurors, enter the courtroom.
Well, we monitor them. We have. Okay.
Got everybody? Yes, we do. Have a seat, ladies and gentlemen. We have your question. Before I get to the question, I got the information about the dinner situation, so what we'll do is, we'll do one of two things. I forgot to ask the lawyers what their preference was. We will either reconvene about 6 o'clock and say, good evening, if you haven't finished your deliberations, and then you'll be going back to the hotel. Or we'll just have you transported, again, assuming you haven't finished your deliberations. As far as the question is concerned, as I've mentioned, the question was, when was Exhibit 201 written? A review of the record indicates June 2013. So, there you have it. You can retire back to the jury room and continue your deliberations. Thank you very much. Do you want me to have them actually brought back into the courtroom before I let them go for the evening, or if they just get to the 6 o'clock hour or 10 minutes after, whenever the sheriff's office is ready to transport them, just let them go? State?
Whatever your preference is, Your Honor, we're happy either way.
Well, I'm gonna be here, but I didn't, I mean,
Judge,
and I guess you all will be too.
I don't think there's a need to bring them in just to let them go home. I think you indicated what time, if they haven't reached a verdict, they go back.
All right, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll come back, and anybody that's here can come back. I'll come back in here about 6 or maybe 5 after. Let me ask them, you need to leave by 6:15, correct?
Yes, sir, that's close to that time.
And, I mean, is that the time you're gonna usher them out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so I'll just come back. If we haven't heard something prior to that, I'll come back at 6:15 and let everybody know the obvious, and that they're going back to the hotel for the evening, and we'll resume tomorrow. Trying to think about what time to resume tomorrow.
No.
9 o'clock it is.
We'd ask for none, thank you, Judge.
9 it is. Alternate jurors, I need to bring them. Before I do that, any exception or objection to the answer given about the question from the state,
No, sir.
from the defense,
No, Your Honor.
from Mr. Dunn?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, can we get the alternates
So
brought
they're coming down.
in? Okay. Miriam, here's that question for the record. You can sit if you like.
Thank you.
Of course, as soon as I say that, they're going to be right there at that door. Here they are.
You're ready to forward.
Welcome back, folks. You can have a seat, I guess, although you've probably been sitting all afternoon, so maybe you don't want to sit. Again, I empathize with your position. What I'm going to do, given where we are, is have you taken back to the hotel now and ask you to, again, spend the night and be prepared to serve as one of the jurors tomorrow if need be. What we will do, though, is we will deviate from today's procedure, and I'm going to let you all stay at the hotel. It's got to be more comfortable there for you than it was here. So I probably should have thought about that ahead of time. We're in new and uncharted waters, so I apologize to you for that. So I will let you stay at the hotel tomorrow. The sheriff's office personnel will obviously be there with you, but that way you can either go to the day room or be in your room or whatever, something more comfortable. You'll have obviously your breakfast and lunch there. If we need you, then we will have you transported down for further service. So that's the way we'll handle it, and then communications, if I need communication with you, will be through the sheriff's office personnel. So I, again, appreciate your time, your attention, and now your patience with us during this process, okay? So have a nice evening, and we will be in some form of communication tomorrow. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Anything from the state that we need to do?
No, sir.
Mr. Strolla?
There you are.
Anything, Mr. Dunn?
No, sir.
We'll be in recess again until probably 6 or maybe 5 minutes after 6. Thank you all very much.
Do you want us to just come back then?
Yeah, let's just call it, I want to give them as much time as possible today, so let's give them max time. Let's call it 6:15,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Please remain in this panel in the first.
Mark.
Okay, what else?